Hello beautiful people, I'm RaishPhoenix and we're going to jump straight into today's video. So a couple days ago I was looking up a makeup look that Kehlani wore in a music video that she was featured in, and while I was looking for that look I came across this photo of her, and the second I saw it I knew I had to draw it. From just looking at her hair and the expression on her face, there was something so comforting about this photo, and right now I am definitely doing my best to just prioritize my joy during this time because there's so much going on in the world. It's so emotionally overstimulating for me, and I just want to be able to create more moments for myself where I find or feel peace, and I am able to do the best I can to take it a day at a time and get through it, you know? For this piece, I wanted it to resemble a piece that I did of SZA a couple years ago, maybe like 3 years ago. I can't remember exactly, but I'm going to insert a picture of it here. So this picture of SZA that I drew, I knew that I did it in one day, and pretty much what that means for me is that I wasn't focused on being perfect. I was just focused on capturing an energy, a pose, and just going with it. So the reason why I automatically started with doing this drawing of Kehlani in this gray tone, or pretty much resembling the graphite tone because I'm using a pencil brush, the reason why I decided to go straight in with this instead of the blue is because I wanted to keep the messy line work. I wanted to focus more on just being loose and capturing an energy. So this is less about being perfect and getting everything to the exact T that I see it in the photo, and it's more about how I feel as I'm working on it, capturing that energy and bringing it to life. So of course her red hair is what stands out the most in this photo, but because of the color palette I wanted to work with, I wanted to stay more on the side of the color wheel where there is more like the hot pinks and violets and blues. So I decided to go with kind of like a watermelon hued red for her hair and use similar colors to what's already in the photo that I'm referencing, and kind of just take it from there and go with the flow. It really was definitely intimidating for me because I'm not used to working with a color combination like this. Like I said, I'm used to like the blue, purple, violets, and like pinks and stuff. But then once I started adding in the earth tones, it was kind of weird, but I did my best to just make sure that all of the colors felt cohesive and constantly looking at them next to each other. There is of course like a lot of trial and error. You'll see how I will go in and I'll fix different colors and I'll mess around with the saturation. But overall, like once I kind of just did what I had to do and just looked at it and allowed my eye to kind of see what was off, pay attention of course to value, that's when things started to come together. There were a lot of moments where I started adding the highlight or shadow and I started to question if it would look right, because the thing about things like this is that when you put down like a messy swatch on top of what you already have, you kind of just don't really see how well it's going to work out. So I had to just trust my gut with what I had learned in my previous piece, like when I was working on Andrea, and just continue to add like a little bit more value, so make it brighter, but then also adjust the hue. And this was definitely a very affirming piece to work on because it kind of just solidified what I had learned about color. Because like I said, I haven't, like, pretty much Andrea was the first digital piece I finished in a very long time. And working on this piece, even though I kind of consider this a sketch because it's not really, or a very detailed sketch, if you will, because it's not really my like god tier best work in my opinion. Like I do love this piece. I definitely feel like it's probably one of my better pieces, but I I'm hard on myself, guys. I'm really hard on myself, and when it comes to line work, I know that that's the area where I love to really get super detailed about, and I like to have things look really clean and stuff. So it was kind of tricky for me to allow myself to do what felt natural in some areas, because sometimes what felt natural in terms of being how loose I naturally was, it felt like I was being messy and I wasn't doing the right thing. But like I said, I wanted to prioritize how this piece felt more so than how perfect it could look. So when I was working on the colors and adding the highlights and shadows, I felt very happy with like just seeing how it came together the more I added depth, and that was definitely a very rewarding feeling for myself. Working on the braids was definitely another tricky area because, like I said, I wanted to just go with a super loose interpretation of things. And also, right before I started this piece, I was working on a piece of an Amazon that hopefully you guys will see soon, but I was drawing shells, and I feel like I was still in the mindset of those shells that I was drawing, so the braids started to kind of look like shells, and I was just like, I don't know if this is okay, but then I was like, you know what, whatever, like, I want to be super loose, it is what it is, at least I have enough information for the viewer to get that her hair here is braided, it's twisted, it's doing something, you know, it's not perfectly straight, so I just wanted to put enough information to show that some type of different style is going on in those section of her hair. The pants were definitely a tricky area for me because I had to kind of figure out if I wanted it to look like it was just like a cotton fabric that was highlighted, or if I wanted it to kind of have the same type of, I don't know, kind of like a shimmery type of look to it. So I don't know, I guess I kind of went with that like shimmery type of texture that it's got going on, but at the same time, like the thing I had trouble with was capturing light, but kind of adding just enough information to show that her pants aren't like some regular material. And you'll see, like, I'll go back in and I'll, like, you know, like add mid tones and like deeper shadows, mid shadows, and all this stuff. And I am happy with how they look. It's interesting because when I look at it like finished, it's kind of weird to me because I've never drawn anything like this. Like even her shirt, like I've never drawn anything with that type of texture before. So it's kind of interesting to kind of see what I could do with what I'm seeing from the photo and how I can interpret it and give just enough information to show like, okay, like these are the colors that are on this fabric, or this is the way the light is hitting this fabric to make it look a particular way. So it's definitely really challenging for those areas too, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So the very last thing I did was I turned off all the highlighting and shading layers that I had so I could go back into the basic color swatches and just clean them up. This is another part where I know I could have done it in the beginning, but I think that I wanted to keep it super messy and just go with it, but the more I defined all of the different values, the more it kind of felt, I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. So that was kind of why I went back in and I cleaned everything up in the end, just to make sure that whatever marks or colors or whatever it may be, like everything felt right and it didn't feel like, I don't know, like something weird. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Bless up, and until next time, sending out much peace, love, and enlightenment. Bye, guys.